man, Pop's tripping. He wants me to ask for my brisket back. You know I wouldn't trip.
What brisket?
You know, the brisket I left at your house, man.
That's my brisket, punk!
As soon as I start opening this beer, you start recording.
There it is.
There it is. That's how you start an episode.
That's how you start an episode.
Yeah, you need to get on it. I don't know, that was a perfect pour. Oh, almost spoke too soon.
So good. Mm-hmm. So good when it hits the lips, right? Mm-hmm. Or did you just get a mouthful of foam?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Swallow it.
Don't mind me.
Don't swallow the head.
Nope.
Never do, James. Never do.
Welcome in and welcome back, Brisket fam.
Was that a fam?
I think I heard a fam in there.
Wow.
You know what? I mean, that really felt horrible saying that. You know what I mean?
You look horrible just saying that.
Yeah, I made myself sick at the stomach just even saying the word fam.
My kids aren't allowed to say that F word.
You guys probably, you know,
the other one's okay.
Right.
Yeah, you should probably call CDC and have them send Morgan Freeman and Dustin Hoffman out so they can contain this outbreak. And then what I'm referring to is the shitty slang word outbreak that's infecting our society and our pop culture.
Yeah, there's a lot of shitty ass slang words that I do not understand. I have 2 teenagers in my house. I'm not following most of the time when they talk.
I mean, I'm in the same boat, guys. I'm in the same boat. I don't have teenagers, but I hear the scum lingos nowadays. Just weird usage of words that are supposed to mean something that are spelt a certain way, and I don't know. All right,
yeah,
continue.
You know, I mean, I was on Twitter the other day, and you get that like moment of realization. I mean, have I gotten old?
Yes.
It's an epiphany.
Has it just passed me by? You know what I mean?
I had that like 10 years ago.
Yeah, and so I'm like, shit. So I'm reading tweets and this, and I'm left and right. You know, I try to keep myself educated as far as what the kids are saying, what people are doing. I mean, John, you got kids that age from like 16 to going all the way down to, yeah. And Alden, I mean, you got a couple in your household. So, I mean, our daughters are probably roughly around close to the same age. And so they're on TikTok and they're on all these different YouTube and all that stuff like that. So, I mean, you hear words and you're like, what is that? I don't know. So, you know, I was on Twitter the other day and I was like, just thumbing through the feed. I always go through it. Just, you know, there's always a couple of gems that you can pick and choose, and so we can have a little talking points for the podcast. I came across this one tweet where this person was referring to another person being thirsty, and I'm just like, all right, then. I mean, yeah, all right, cool. I mean, I'm thirsty. I mean, I could use something to drink.
What you want to drink?
I'm usually hungry.
Or hungry. I mean, and kind of segue into our ice cold car box that we're drinking today. Speaking of thirsty.
Fantastic.
Yeah, great stuff. Alden is partaking in a Bud Light. I'd like to sit here and say he's drinking a Carbach. He's not.
I definitely had some this weekend.
Oh, he did?
You did, yeah.
I definitely had some this
Had a
weekend.
good time this weekend.
So when I read the tweet, this person's being thirsty, I'm just like, you know, it kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. And so I'm like, let me just go ahead and, you know, check this out. And I mean, what's the real meaning? Because I'm not a moron. I mean, I know it means something else. So I was like, start reading into it, and I was like, okay. And then I hear the word thirst trap, and I'm like, have you ever heard the word thirst trap?
Mm-mm.
No.
So this is essentially a person that is thirsty, which means I guess they're starving for attention. They're they're like whatever they can do to
putting some bait out there, basically.
Pretty much. And then thirst trap is somebody trying to, I guess, trap. Trying to...
They know they're thirsty.
Like trolling or...
I don't know.
I don't know, honestly.
I don't understand half the shit, so, you know.
Thirst trap.
Wow.
But, I mean, they got to me thinking. I was like, okay, so, look, I'm not the get off my lawn type of dude, but some of the shit that they're saying nowadays, I mean, it's just... I don't get it. It's just horrible.
But, so, I mean, you think about it, it's a trap. You're trying to catch something, right? Like, you have a mouse trap. You know what you're catching.
Yeah.
You have a thirst trap. What are you trying to catch?
What is
thirst? I mean, what does it mean to be thirsty?
From what I gather, it's like these, I guess you would say like these Instagram hoes or these Instagram models that get up there and they doll themselves out, parade themselves, put the lingerie on, lingerie on, and all stuff like that, huh?
They call them influencers, don't they?
I don't know.
No, that's sort of different.
It's a little bit
Is
different.
that something different?
Yeah.
Instagram models. I'm using air quotes. Instagram models.
Well, you got
There's
those
a lot of them.
those models that are probably, you know, they're thirsting. They're trying to get those rappers. They're trying to get those. They're trying to get paid. They're trying to get those dollars. You know, they see, hey, if I doll up,
Yep.
I make myself pretty. I present myself.
They're using their assets.
They're using their assets. And hey, I mean, say what you say.
Assets
I mean, say
or ass and tits?
Yes.
Yeah, correct. True story. But say what you will. So I came up with a list of slang words that we used to use like back in the 90s and a list of what they're saying nowadays and kind of a little bit of explanation of what it means. And I mean, I'm guilty of using probably still the same slang words that we were using back in the 90s. I mean, and it looks like some of that stuff's maybe made a resurgence for whatever reason in pop culture. It's kind of like stuck around a little bit, but I made a list. I'll read out a couple and let you guys listen to it. Give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Y'all want to go 90s or 2019 first?
Let's start with the good stuff.
The 90s?
The 90s.
The 90s.
I wish we could do like a comparison. Like this one means good then.
Ooh, that was a good idea,
This one means
John.
good now.
That would have been pretty solid.
Okay, so right off the bat, diss.
This?
Okay.
Diss.
Are we? We're in 90s, right?
We're in
Yeah,
90s.
we're in
Because I know what
90s.
that means.
Diss.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You've been dissed.
Dissing
Yeah,
on
you've been
somebody.
dissed.
Yeah.
You're,
Okay. Everybody knows what that means.
Yeah, I mean, disrespectful. I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost kind of like you got served.
Yeah. Your mama is so fat.
Mama joke, man.
Mama jokes, yeah.
Oh, you got this, boy. Yeah.
This next one, I was like, this is probably more when I was like younger, probably junior high, middle school area.
I know what you're gonna say. Groovy, right?
No, God bless, John. I'm not that old. Jesus. I
What
know
was
you
your
are,
band-
but what am
was
I?
what was the band you followed?
Yes.
I know you are, but what am I?
Yep. I know you are, but what am I?
What's that from?
Come on, Alden. You got this. I know you are, but what am I?
You just said it's from you. It's like I don't remember where that one came from. It's like the rubber and glue one, inner tube. I don't know.
Pee Wee's Herman's.
Oh, Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Big Adventure or one of those?
I can still
One
sing
of
you
the
that
two.
song right now.
Which one?
The actual Pee Wee's Playhouse song.
Yeah,
I can sing it.
go ahead and bust it out.
Almost verbatim. I get lost for a little bit, but
Let's
it's
hear
like,
it.
get out of bed. There'll be no more napping. Wake up. And then I get lost after there. But I can see all the
That's the whole
characters.
thing almost verbatim.
I can
You said
still-
6 words.
I know, but that was the start. That was the start of the. That was the start of the whole or not cartoon, but the his little show. Man, it was awesome. You know, he has his little characters, a chair and the freaking globe and the mecha high, mecha honey ho. Man, all that shit was cool. You know.
Yeah. There's a lot of actors that made their either
Samuel
starts
was there,
or
dude.
just made appearances in it. Yeah,
Samuel Jackson.
Sam Jackson was in it.
He was
for
cowboy.
Sure. There you go.
Remember Rowdy, the little puppet cowboy or whatever he wanted to be? He was rude. Like, or maybe what was his name? Rudy? No, I think it was Rowdy. But anyhow,
I remember it. But yeah, but moving on. I mean, we'll have a whole nother episode dedicated to Pee Wee and Pee Wee's Playhouse
Yes.
in the future.
Pee Wee plays.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one. Okay, peace out. I mean, obviously, we
Sure.
still use that
Yeah.
today. Home skillet.
Solid.
Solid. Yeah. Hey, just that's your
slice,
boy.
yeah.
That's your homie. Word. Do you guys remember not?
Yes.
yeah.
To when you were like throw out a sentence and then end it with a not.
Yeah. Which came first, not or psych?
Ooh.
Probably psych.
I feel like it did too. I don't remember. I don't know. I was young when that was.
I would have to
thing.
say probably psych.
Psych.
I mean, we're the same age, so we were the same youngness. So,
Right. Right. We were about the same size. No, we weren't the same size. Same age.
Definitely the same age, not the same size. I think when you were born, you were bigger than me. So
All right, so you got all that in a bag of chips. Hella cool.
I still say hella.
Yeah,
well, you from California?
that's gotta
Hey,
be
man.
that's a California thing, right? Well, I mean,
You never said hella growing up?
I did
No.
not. Yeah, I grew up South Texas, and that was not a part of the vocabulary until Gwen Stefani
Stefani.
came on the scene and started her little hella cool type
Got
deal.
me feeling hella good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crunk.
Yeah, I didn't
Crunk?
use that really.
That was more.
Kid crunk. I mean, that's
It was more in my college days. Crunk
Little
was,
John.
which is,
That's
it was,
Little
that was more in the
John.
2000s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Early 2000s.
Oh, Snap?
Yeah, I didn't say
No,
Snap. Yeah.
not really.
No, that was a girl one, I think.
Yeah. Last on the list, By Felicia. I mean, that's
It's classic.
I mean, I feel like that's probably like,
Yeah. And nobody wants to be named Felicia because of it.
no, exactly. I mean, this saying, like, probably like late 90s, early 2000s, like the movie Friday came out, and that's
Sure.
when you heard it. And then now it's like over the last like 5 years, you've probably seen like a huge resurgence, like people using that one. I was like,
Yeah. Some of the you might have left off. I mean, Tight was a good one.
Yep. Tight, dope.
As if, Clueless.
As if,
Yeah.
from Clueless.
A lot of these references were spurned from movies.
Yeah. Because that's where everybody heard them,
Did you say sperm?
Spurned?
Oh, spurned.
Spurned
Spawned?
from movies. Spawned.
Spawn, great comic. Okay, so fast forward 2019. This is probably the shit your kids are saying that you're probably like, I don't know, what are you saying? I don't get it.
Yeah, let's do a little recognize, don't recognize.
I can tell what one of my kids saying. I need money. That's generational. It's never going to change.
Yeah, that's
I
one
need
slang that
money.
hasn't changed.
You know, I need money, Dad.
Palms up.
What?
But money, the name of money changes over the years.
I think I'm dying over
Yeah,
here.
I don't think it changes when you're asking your parents, though.
I think I'm dying.
Like bread. Yeah, bread,
dough, cash,
cash.
green.
Sorry, guys. I am dying. I think my leg is about to fall off.
Now, did you like cut yourself or something?
Yeah, a few days ago.
Oh,
Shaving his legs.
shave his.
Shaving my legs.
Alden, it should not still be bleeding a couple of days later.
Well, it does when you pick the scab.
Alden, you never pick the scab.
I always do. Maybe that's why I'm so scarred up.
All right, let's hear some of these 2019 slang.
Okay, getting into the 2019, and I'll read off the name and let you guys kind of guess what the meaning is. Snatched.
Grab something.
That's what I would have said.
Like steal something.
No, you failed.
I'm going to leave.
Yeah,
I'm not.
exactly. You just got voted off this island. Snatched means looking good. That girl looks snatched.
That just doesn't sound right.
I know it doesn't.
That sounds awful.
Exactly.
Who comes up with this shit?
Obviously not us.
Kids.
Yeah, kids.
That just sounds...
But what kids? Not our kids aren't doing it. It's got to be some rich person that somebody else is following or something. Like, ooh,
It's probably somebody John's age
or something.
Yeah.
It's high school. They get onto Twitter, Instagram,
Right.
TikTok.
And so
all
now
this
it's a lot easier nowadays for a word like that to make its rounds.
Yeah.
You know, where before, like I may have heard a word different or a lot later than y'all did, being where I was in Texas, and you may have already been saying something. You know what I mean? But especially like in California, it's going to take somebody's got to drive down here and say that to me.
Well,
or
more
something,
than likely,
you know,
this is
so-
probably being introduced in pop culture somewhere. So
Right,
whether it's a
nowadays,
rapper
yeah.
or whatever,
Somebody
somebody
said it in a song.
threw it up on their Instagram, and they're like, boom, and all the kids. I mean, you look at some of these rappers. I mean, they have 300. Nah, I'm exaggerating. 30, 40 million people following them. So they come up with a word and throw it out there. Next thing you know, that's going out to all of those people, and they tell a friend. They tell a friend. Next, then it just now it's ingrained in our pop culture. And then you create a rap song and you have a little catchy tune go behind it. And the next thing you know, it's like it's viral. It's done. You can't do anything about it. Next one is beat.
Beat?
Beat.
B-E-A-T?
B-E-A-T.
Well, it either means catching an ass whooping or like a beat, like in a song.
Isn't it a vegetable?
No,
That's B-E-E-T.
Oh, okay.
no. This is referring to applying makeup, as in
Get out of here with that.
as in I gotta go beat my face.
Maybe because you're coloring
made
it
that
up.
shit
You're-
up.
I'm not making this shit up,
because you're
dude.
coloring it up, giving yourself black eye. Yeah.
I gotta go beat my face.
I'm so glad I have sons. I guess I do have a daughter, but that should be long gone by the time she's old enough.
It'll be something else, and it'll be something. A lot of these words, they just pick words and they just flip the meaning, and next thing you know, it's like dab. Like back in the day, dab for me was like you basically like make a fist and you dab somebody else in their fist, and that was called a dab.
Right.
Nowadays, that's not a dab. Dab is a dance move now, thanks to Fortnite, I guess.
That's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
A dab is still a dab or a fist bump.
Yeah, but not to go back to, like, I mean, I'm sure we probably did stupid shit where our parents were like, God dang, dude, these guys are morons. And nowadays, it's like, it's unfolding again, or the circle comes back around, or whatever analogy or pun you want to come up with. We're at now.
We've turned into our parents.
But maybe.
I don't even think it's that bad, to be honest with you. But
Okay, so Gucci.
This is a brand.
that's what I would have to say.
Gucci is a brand, but Gucci also means good. Like, you want to say, like, you see a tight ass car, you're like, oh, that car is Gucci.
So can you do that with any brand that you think is good? Like, could I say, I don't know, that's Carhartt.
Yeah. No.
All right. No?
Does not work that way.
Can be Levi's.
Actually, you know, if it was Carhartt, if that's Carhartt, like, I guess you would, like, if you saw something tough, like rugged, weathered, like all weathered material, whatever, like, oh, that's tough, whatever, you might be able to go, oh, dude, that's Carhartt.
See, I feel like you're trying to start something
Just
now.
making shit up.
See,
Get
you are
the thing
falling.
down.
You are falling into line right now.
Exactly.
Boom. Viral.
Done. Shirts are coming out later.
Yeah, Carhartt shirts. There won't be an issue there.
Some of these are kind of like
not at all.
basic, whatever. Okay, so Slay.
Yeah, I kind of think I know what that
Slay,
means.
like knock them dead. Like
Yeah, you're killing it.
slaying it.
Yeah, you're good.
That one's okay.
Shade, like throwing shade.
Yeah, I've heard that one. I don't like
Yeah.
it, but I understand it.
Salty.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
One I keep hearing is catching hands.
Does that mean like fighting?
Yeah. Or throwing hands.
I like
Well,
that.
throwing hands has been
Throwing hands
for a while, but
is-
if you catching hands, I mean you're getting beat.
You,
you're
you catching
losing.
a hand.
So
you're
what's
like,
the other word for the? Or what do they use for beat?
Beaten face.
So a lot of times they are beating themselves up because they done caught some hands,
Or,
because they're
hey,
trying to cover it up. You know what
or,
I mean?
hey, let me go ahead and beat my face, or you're about to catch a hand.
Boy, I already caught some hands. Now I need
And
to
now I
beat
need to
my
beat
face.
my face again
Okay,
to
so-
cover up this beating.
All right. Another one I thought was kind of relevant to our generation, our era. Stan.
A stand?
Stan. Stan.
Stan, like Eminem song?
Eminem song. That's what I was gonna say.
Yes. Somebody that's like obsessive, or somebody that's kind of crazy, or
Oh, so
like,
they're basically telling people like, don't be like Stan.
don't be like Stan. Or we need to get Stan, or we need to get Stan over this right here, this idea or this music video, because it's dope. You know?
See, that's not what it meant to me growing up. When I grew up, I'd go to work with my dad, construction work and whatnot. And anytime I was standing around too long, not helping, he'd call me Stan. That's what Stan. I still call my kids that. Hey, Stan, you want to come help me? They probably think I'm saying whatever it is you're talking about.
Probably. But it means totally
And
opposite.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like a lot of times, especially if you're talking about something like that gets brought back up that you remember, you're going to say it one way. It's going to get lost in translation because these kids they may take it as like a slight at them. Like,
Right.
oh, why are you talking
Well,
shit, bro?
I would definitely
Why
mean
do
it
you want
as
to throw
such.
hands or what?
Keep it 100.
Yeah, that's an emoji thing.
Yeah. Basic.
Basic bitch.
Basic is
Yeah.
mainstream.
Yeah, it's what, pumpkin spice lattes or
Pumpkin,
something.
yeah. Anything you can think of, just like mainstream pumpkin spice.
Yeah. You know, speaking of
Lattes
this,
and all that
I
stuff.
do like watching, or not watching, but so much seeing people from like, you know, the UK or whatever. They'll post stuff like this on Twitter, like, what do these words mean? You know, in our country, whatever. And it's kind of the same thing because they're like, what's going on over there? What are these guys talking about? Basic bitch. What is a basic bitch?
I think that's a dumb one too, honestly.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of these that are okay.
I mean, there's probably 100 more just behind it.
Oh,
I think,
for sure.
And I think my favorite thing is, and then maybe you guys can get on board, and whoever is out there listening to it as well. I
already know what you're going to say.
Basic bitches.
was going to say, I love, not trolling, but I love using the words in front of my kid.
Yes, you ruin it for them.
I ruin it for them.
Just as fast as it gets popular, you do it and you say it to them, and it's done. That
Yes.
word is no longer used.
You're like, what are you
the
doing,
first
Dad?
time I heard about the catching the woe or
Yeah.
whatever it is, I
Yes.
walked into my 16-year-old's room and said, "Hey, John, I'm catching a woe," and I did a little arm thingy that I'm really good at. And he just looked at me, disgusted.
That
Just
is no
wanted
longer.
to throw
That is
up.
no
I was
longer
like,
cool.
Dad, get out of my room.
Just ruined
I was
it.
like, and it's over.
Yeah.
Let me learn, or tell me when you learn how to do that with the word money.
Right? Yeah, exactly. That's never going to go out of style.
Or dough, or...
No. That's about all I had on that portion of that. Okay, guys, last week we dropped a poll on our Twitter page, the most important barbecue side dish when judging a barbecue restaurant. We threw out 4 different items, and probably kind of what I expected to happen. They're all pretty much evenly matched. We offered mac and cheese, coleslaw, potato salad, beans. The winner being potato salad. I mean, and that
surprised me. I'll just say it. I honestly expected mac and cheese number 1 by far, potato salad, a little behind it, and then beans, and then like 3 people to say coleslaw.
Yeah, I kind of expected potato salad. Look, I mean, I don't like mac and cheese, and I'll put it out there right now to all you guys. I don't like cheese. I have kind of like a intolerant issue with cheese.
That's a very nice way to put it.
Right. So
it does not agree with him very well.
Does not agree with me. Yeah, I don't like cheese, and cheese does not like me. So
do you think that changes by, I guess you could say, maybe region? Or is that just a foregone conclusion? No matter where you're at, this is potato salad is probably going to rule on that.
We had 175 votes in this poll. I mean, and I don't know region wise, but I mean I would say Texas, you would have to have potato salad, beans, and mac and cheese. That's a given.
Yeah.
Coleslaw.
I feel like that's a Carolina thing.
I think it's more like a place that would be really heavy in pork.
Yeah, pulled pork.
Yeah, you do pulled pork. You got to have the coleslaw.
Kentucky.
I'm not knocking coleslaw. I mean, I like coleslaw.
I like it with the pulled pork sandwich or some kind of sandwich. I don't like it by itself.
Yeah. You knew who had some really badass coleslaw? Long John Silver's.
You laugh, dude. As fry as Long John Silver's is, that place is pretty phenomenal, man.
It used to be. I
don't know how this one is still open over here because there's never nobody there.
Yeah. I'm kidding with the Long John Silver's coleslaw, but we have one right in front of our neighborhood, and I don't know how it's still open. I mean, I think they get a lot of reoccurring business, like in the afternoon.
I give them some dough every now and again.
Yeah, I'll give them. Look, I'm not gonna lie. My nephew came over like probably 6 months ago. We're hanging out Sunday. No football. I mean, it was just whatever. And I was nursing a hangover from the night before. And he's like, "Do you want to order some food?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess, man, something." He's like, "What about Long John Silver's?" I'm like, "That's fine, cool." I was in a mindset like I needed something, which is weird. I need something greasy,
disgusting.
It's going to raise your body temperature by like 15 degrees as soon as you start eating.
I was like, something. I mean, what I really needed was a taco. I mean, probably like a nice fajita taco with all the fixings and stuff like that. But that wasn't an option. So he ordered the Long John Silver's, great, and some party pack where he got like 9 pieces of fish and all that stuff like that. And so it gets here, and I'm drinking a beer. I think I've had like about 3 or 4 beers down. I started eating some of the fish, and I'm not even lying, guys. With the first bite, you can literally taste the oil just going down your throat. And I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Disgusting.
It was horrible.
I love that shit, man.
I went in that restaurant there one time with my mother-in-law. We stopped in there. We were out yard sailing or something. Stopped there to get some drinks. She goes up to the counter. I go into the restroom to use the restroom. I hear some shit crawling around in the ceiling. I'm like, I'm done. I literally walked out and said, never mind, don't order me anything. I'll be in the car. Went out and she came with, what happened? I told her I've never been back in that restaurant.
But I do love, can't knock, I do love the crunchies.
Yeah, the little bits,
the little crunchy bits that you can get. And their hush puppies are pretty solid.
I used to love that place when I was younger. Yeah, maybe it's just this one because I haven't seen another one like around here.
This might be the last Long John's ever.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Lone Long John.
I think it's still pretty funny. It's hard to tell the difference in the taste between the chicken and the fish sometimes, because like you're saying, the oil tastes. It's in the same thing. They're frying in the same thing, so everything just tastes identical, basically. And the only way you can differentiate is how it's shaped.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, sometimes it's you're guessing. This might have been chicken yesterday, but
That's disgusting.
I love it.
Okay, so second on the list is beans. Which, I mean, beans, I mean, you got to have beans. I mean, well, especially here in Texas.
So beans was number 2.
Beans was number 2, yeah.
It's just wrong.
No, I mean, you got to have beans.
I get it. You got to have beans, but it's not more important than macaroni and cheese.
Okay, and yeah. Let's discuss this.
Do they have macaroni and cheese, at the cook-offs competition?
No, of course they don't.
What's they don't even have potato salad at the ones we go to.
Right, they just do
beans. People love their beans.
I guess they do.
What about us getting to a debate or discussion about beans? And maybe that might be a thing for a future episode, because beans is prepared quite differently throughout the region of the United States.
Oh yeah, there's lots of different kinds.
A lot of stuff. I mean, you get into the baked beans, the
refried beans,
the barbecue pit beans.
We got a lot of responses for folks saying you have to have baked beans.
Yeah,
and I know down here in Texas, that's
it
not
just doesn't fly.
It's more of a pinto bean or something like that.
You need like a Baracha style bean,
Yeah.
a pinto bean.
I love them all, honestly, but not more than mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Roll that beautiful bean footage. The Bush's baked beans, man. Growing up, obviously Hispanic, our beans were very prevalent in my life.
Well, I mean, Alden, your mom and your sister make pretty killer mac and cheese.
My mom, yes. My sister is getting there. She's pretty solid, yeah.
Okay, nice.
But she does them mainly for Thanksgiving. She usually doesn't just do them out of the blue. It's usually for Thanksgiving. She uses the big elbows, man. The bell peppers. I think Dylan's got on to that macaroni kick, or maybe Sean. Somebody has.
Yeah, we've rolled them out at a couple of cook-offs.
Yeah, man, they're good.
So if you ever get out to
that
one of the Chase and More,
good.
One of the Chase and More smoke cook-offs,
I think it's Eric doing them.
You'll get
Eric,
that macaroni cheese, and bell peppers.
Yeah, they're phenomenal, man.
Yeah, I mean it's great. Y'all put jalapenos in there as well?
No, there's no jalapenos in those.
Just bell peppers.
Just bell pepper. Yeah, very good, very very good.
Nice. We were given a couple of products to try out and demo, and so we thought we'd do a little review and let you guys know what we thought about it. It was 2 different thermometer / probes from a company called InkBird, and the one I demoed was the InkBird digital instant read thermometer, and it's a pretty cool item. And I got a couple of pros and cons for it. John has another probe. What was it called, John?
This is their smart wireless barbecue thermometer, IBT 4XP. So basically, his is more the instant read. This is the one you leave in.
It's a
to
computer.
Give you the ambient temperature, to give you 3 other probes you can have going.
You can plug
into
meat and all that stuff.
Have a bunch of them going at once, basically.
Okay, so
Constant read probe, I guess you call it.
right off the bat, the pros that I have is cost. I mean, that's number one.
Absolutely, for both of them. They're both...
This particular instant read thermometer retails for $12, and that's pretty solid. It does have a magnetic back to it, so you can sit there and place it onto your barbecue pit, and it'll sit there and stick and hold.
Yeah, that part is cool.
That's pretty cool. And another feature that I thought was pretty tight was it has a lock your temperature in.
He said tight.
I'm going to continue to say tight. So it has a button that you can lock your temperature in, so you can stick the probe into the meat, like and for some reason, like you open the pit door, smoke's rolling out, it's getting in your eyes or whatever. You can sit there and turn your head away, stick the probe into the meat, give it about 5 seconds, hit the lock button, you can pull it out, and then see, okay, yeah, I'm at like 203, I need to pull this brisket, so to speak. So I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, so that was the pros that I had. Cons, really the biggest con that it has is the 7 to 8 second read time that it has before it gets to the actual temperature. So it's speed. Using it in backyard or in your kitchen, I highly recommend it. I mean, it's perfectly great. I mean, for $12, you can't beat it.
Yeah, $12, anybody should have one of those in their bucket.
Exactly. If you get into the competition cooking, then that might be another story where you need to step up, and we haven't looked and seen if InkBird offers any type of other instant read thermometers that are a little bit quicker.
Right.
But you might have to invest into a thermometer that might be a little bit more expensive to give you that quick instant read temperature. We do these competitions, so you might have 3 briskets on the pit. You might have, 6, 8 half chickens that you have to go through and check the temperature on all of them. So if you're opening up the pit, you're losing heat. That 5 to 8, 7 seconds or whatever it is, that's valuable time that your pit is just losing all that heat. So if you have to sit there and just probe every piece of meat and it's taking that amount of time, I mean, that can build up to a minute or so. And the next thing you know, you got to close your pit up and build the temperature back up and all that stuff like that. So, but for me, I think the pros kind of outweigh the con. I mean, I think I will continue to use this guy in my backyard, and we'll certainly bring it along and use it on the competition trail just as kind of like a backup type deal. It's $12. I mean, so if it gets messed up,
go to the stove, buy
Right,
a new one.
it's magnetic, so you're less likely to lose it.
Exactly.
Where did they set that thing down at?
yeah, well, I looked for it for a longest time. I was like, I can't find this thing. It's like, John's like, we got to do this review on this InkBird. And I'm like, I don't know where it's at. I can't find it anymore. It's lost. It goes where all the other stuff goes, where, you only...
We were just at a cook-off this last weekend. John couldn't find his probes.
Yeah, we found them.
We found them right where I told him they were.
But I
at.
did find the InkBird probe. You know where it was? It was attached to the shelf on my Traeger. Magnetic.
Magnetically.
Yeah.
Correct.
Awesome. Loved it.
Yeah, so this other one, the constant probe or whatever you want to call it, that has multiple plugins, a lot of the same pros. I don't know what the price point. I think it was around $60 or something like that, which compared to some of the other ones are a couple $100 at this kind of quality. It's waterproof, 4 probes, chargeable, has the alarms, all that kind of stuff. Same kind of stuff you get with a lot of the higher end ones. And above all, it seemed really, really accurate. I did think that the waterproof part was cool, though, because the one I had before was not waterproof.
So is there any pros and cons as far as like fluctuation?
No, it seemed really accurate to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one thing I didn't really look and see if this instant read was waterproof.
I got some water right here.
We can certainly
Toss it in there?
throw it in the cooler and see if it still works.
Water and ice proof.
Yes. Awesome. So, I mean, that's fantastic. So, probably something that you could pick up Amazon.
Yeah, I think they're on Amazon. InkBird. If you can't find them, hit us up. You can email us at grabtheminthebrisket@gmail.com, and we can give you more information on them, or anywhere else you can find us on Instagram, all those other places.
Okay, so I was talking with the guys, and I was talking with John. If I can offer one suggestion or one pro tip or one item that can make somebody a better cook, getting themselves a instant digital read thermometer, hands down, number one in my book.
Yep.
You got to have it. For the longest time, I went through and just kind of like a backstory before I even got one of those like thermometers. I was always worried about serving food to people that might be undercooked a little bit.
You don't want to kill him.
No,
Right,
I don't want to hurt them. Shit. I want to produce juicy, tasty meat, but then again, I don't want to give anybody food poisoning.
Yeah. There was 200 people at our catering gig last weekend, and then 200 people showed up at my house.
Right.
Why? Because they all sick.
You're not getting repeat business over that, for sure. 100%. So I was like, okay, got to get a digital read thermometer. So I picked one up. Honestly, it's made my barbecue game so much better.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about it. And I mean, there's a guideline, there's a list, and a lot of this is kind of subjective. Like, I mean, there's the list that you can probably get from, and I'll read you out, from the CDC, or I think whatever the agriculture list is, where they recommend their meats to be cooked to a certain temperature and all that stuff like that. But I printed off a couple stuff. I'll read off some of the stuff, some little facts that I thought was pretty interesting. Okay, so CDC estimates that each year 48 million people will get sick from foodborne illnesses. 128,000 will be hospitalized.
Jeez Louise.
3,000 of them will die.
This isn't all just from undercooked food. This is like any kind of
Foodborne illnesses.
Okay.
So, yeah, this could be undercooked food. This could be whatever you're prepping the food on. It's not clean. I mean, and there's a list where they go, it was like their 4 little things where they say clean, separate, cook, and chill. So all this stuff is on the CDC website, and I got a lot of the information from the New York Times and the CDC website. We all heard salmonella, right? I mean, that's usually the number one that's like thrown out there, salmonella. So a lot of these bacteria are kind of like similar. A lot of it, you can kill it by cooking
Right.
to a certain temperature. Like this stuff exists everywhere. Like if you're not familiar with it, I mean, it exists everywhere. So E. coli, salmonella, just horrible, horrible pieces of crap. I mean, if you want like the Hershey squirts,
That should be a song.
yeah, right? Then that would be your best friend. So, and I came across an article from the New York Times talking about botulism. Have you heard about botulism?
Mm-hmm.
Not good stuff.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's horrible
You don't
stuff.
want that.
It's very rare in our day and age, but where it is kind of prevalent is when people do canning, when they can foods and preserve foods and all stuff like that. There is a risk of creating this botulism that could kill you. I mean, straight up. Like this article came out and said botulism is an often fatal disease of the nervous system. So what that means is the bacteria itself is not bad. It's whenever the bacteria breeds, it creates this like neurotoxin that affects your brain and all stuff like that. I mean, it'll shut it down. So they did studies and they tested this stuff. Said 1/1,000,000th of a gram is enough to kill you.
That's got to be in what? In your bloodstream? Or. Because botulism is basically what they use in Botox.
It
is.
Maybe a different form of it.
Maybe, yeah. I know
Yeah.
that's what it is.
We
but-
might have to get your wife on to
Yeah, 'cause I know she
explain
can talk all about that.
the difference of that. But yeah,
It's
I know
it's
there's
kind of
different.
poison.
Yeah, it's a straight up.
So maybe the form you're talking
Yeah, 'cause
about
that's what it does.
ingestion,
It's-
maybe.
It basically paralyzes your muscles. They're pumping it into their forehead.
Yeah.
It's probably what it does to your body when you eat it.
Yeah, I mean, it breaks down your nervous system, and you're like done. They said the New York Times article, and we'll post a link on our social media so everybody can take a look at it and see. And I'm always interested and fascinated about all this type of shit. But 1 pint, like this pint right here, pint glass right here, filled with that botulism is enough to kill everybody on this planet.
Oof, that sounds awful.
Yeah, let that soak in for a minute.
Or don't, because it'll
don't.
kill
Or
you.
no. Yeah.
And they did studies on this. I don't know if it was World War One or two or whatever it was, but they did studies on testing this as trying to make this a biological weapon.
Warfare type
Yeah,
deal.
in Canada, they took a bunch of this shit and they went up there and sprayed this weaponized botulism all over the place at a certain area. Within 6 hours, it killed everything.
Really?
Yeah, animals, anything that came into contact, it was done, dead.
Aren't you bottling pickles right now?
I am, yes.
Mind you, those pickles are phenomenal.
I wonder how that works with the canning thing. Like, how is that making it do that?
When you do a lot of canning, you have to make sure you clean the jars, and then they have to be boiled to make sure that there's no bacteria or anything left behind. This bacteria itself, the botulism, it's everywhere. It's in the ground. It's on the vegetables that you eat. It's everywhere.
It's on that beer you're drinking.
Correct. But it needs a certain environment to reproduce. And one of the environments that it needs is canning. So if you don't kill it, you screw the lid on it, you tighten it up, you throw it in your pantry, and you let it sit for 6 months. Well, it's a perfect pH balance to where it sits there and reproduce. And again, there's a lot more information on this New York Times article and on the CDC website. You guys can go check it out if you're a little more interested. I'm sure probably a lot of you guys are like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? We want to hear more barbecue fails and jokes and what's going on.
Botulism.
Yeah. But we thought it was like a easy kind of transition into doing the InkBird thermometer, so
Right.
we can give you guys kind of a heads up on
Yeah, it's a safety thing.
cooking
as well
some of the
as,
stuff. So yeah, wherever you guys go, yeah. Okay, so the 4 steps that they give us is clean, separate, cook, and chill. So clean your areas, clean your utensils, clean your table. Last thing you want is like cross contamination where you injecting chicken and trying to prepare a salad. I mean, that's nightmare fuel for somebody.
dumb.
That is dumb. Again, that goes into separate, cook, chill. Hey, when you're done with your food, put it in the refrigerator. Actually, before you put it in the refrigerator, you want to make sure it cools down or warms up to a certain temperature before you throw it in there. You don't want to throw like piping hot food in the refrigerator because it's going to take a lot longer to cool down, and then you're just going to give yourself that window of breeding area for that bacteria to start growing. So make sure that food kind of goes down to a little bit closer to room temperature, and then you can throw a lid on it, throw it in the fridge. When you're outside, the hotter it is, that lessens the window that you can have food out, just because it elevates the temperature of your food that's close to that room temperature area. So you got from 40 degrees to 140 degrees, which is that window that bacteria could start growing. Yeah.
Let me ask a question. So I know some guys that would go buy like a taco from the gas station in the morning, and then during the heat of the summer, they'll put it on their dash and let it cook until lunchtime.
That don't seem right.
They're still alive?
That sounds horrible. But again, we're here in Houston, or we're here in Texas. Probably temperatures on the inside of a car can probably reach to, I don't know, I would say temperatures that exceed 140 plus degrees. I mean, I could be wrong, but
I have no idea. But it sounds right.
Yeah. I mean, it really only takes about 10, 15 minutes if you like lock a dog in a vehicle for you to become like pretty much incapacitated.
Sure. I mean, it gets hot in there, dude, especially with the windows all the way up, you know what I mean? But I always thought that was pretty funny, like, not funny, but it's like, oh, so you just buy this gas station, you know, like a chimichanga or something, and they come cold, obviously. Mm-hmm. Just boom, put them on the dashboard by noon, like, good to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not really condoning heating up your burritos and tacos in your car. I've seen crazy videos where people like take their burrito or taco or whatever, and then they'll open up their hood and stick it up on the close to the engine block, close it, and just like take off and roll down the road. An hour later, open it up and pull it up, and it's like steaming hot, ready to go. I'm not condoning that either. So,
I ain't knocking it though.
Right.
I guess when you're hungry, right? Can't
For
eat
sure.
cold.
Okay, so a couple of temperature guidelines that you guys can go by. 145 degrees Fahrenheit for whole cuts of beef, pork, veal, and lamb. So when I say whole cuts of, I'm talking about like the roasts, the shoulders, the chops, steaks, all that type of stuff. 160 degrees Fahrenheit for ground meats, such as beef and pork. So ground beef, and I'm not really sure why that's different for ground beef as opposed to the whole cuts. I mean, maybe one of you guys out there listening probably knows a little bit better than that. Maybe it's something to do with the grinding and the whole grinding process. I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
Poultry, 165. That includes turkey as well. So chicken and turkey. 165 degrees for leftovers and casseroles. Yeah. I was like, that's pretty interesting.
Lasagna.
Lasagna. I might be able to get to that in about 3 seconds.
145 degrees Fahrenheit for fish, or until the flesh is opaque, which is kind of confusing because what if the skin goes opaque before 145?
Then it's good.
Yeah.
Oh, or if you want to be safe, wait till it gets to 145.
Okay. Yeah.
If you don't have your probe, which you should, for $12, you should have one.
Yeah, $12. It's not going to cost you that much. Just go ahead and get it. And like I mentioned earlier, it's like I was always afraid of undercooking meat when I was cooking for my family and friends, and the last thing I wanted was to make a bunch of people sick. So I tended to overcook chicken and steak and all that type of stuff to the point where I had to drown it in barbecue sauce just for it to taste great, you know, or to be edible, palatable, you know what I mean? But by using a instant read thermometer, I'm able to go, okay, I'm shooting for this temperature. Once it hits this temperature, I'm good to go. I don't have to worry about people getting sick. Also read another article, not to go sideways on you, but this bacteria is not always growing in the meat. Do you know what I mean? So it's probably like a 1% variation when you go buy a piece of steak or chicken or whatever, that there's E. coli or salmonella just sitting in the meat, just waiting for it to go. And if you don't cook the meat until it reaches over, I think, a temperature of 155 degrees, then you really run the risk of just getting fucking sick. This article that I read was like, it's not always the case. I mean, you hear restaurants all the time, they'll cook chicken to 145.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that Doesn't sound right.
Whatever it is, I mean, it's hard to, like these restaurants, it's hard to produce chicken that's tender and juicy, cook it at 165. And unless they're brining and throwing all different types of phosphates and all types of stuff. But I've read that maybe 145 is a little exaggerating, but I've read that they go under the guidelines of what is put out there.
Huh. That's scary.
But you don't get sick. I mean, obviously, if you start getting sick, then nobody's gonna visit.
They wouldn't do it if people were getting sick,
right?
I guess, and it probably allows them to get meat out faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, boom, this is already done. Get it on the line.
Yeah. We'll go back pork too. I mean, for the longest time, they're like pork 165. You got to cook it to 165.
Why did they change that?
And now they just change it to now it's like 155 or
That's a
150,
big difference.
155.
10 degrees is a big difference.
Yeah, you're
huge
like
difference.
Yeah, pork chop I think is even less than that.
Yeah, you're like, oh, what are we doing
145, 150.
here? One day eggs is bad for you, next day eggs is good for you. What are we doing here, guys? There's a difference in probably the way meat and
It's all prepared.
was prepared and
Yeah.
meat was raised. And growing up in a small town in Texas, I mean, you grab a chicken and cut its head off and pluck the feathers off of it. You could probably sit there and cook that thing to 145 or whatever and still have the juices a little, if it's all organic and everything's great. But I mean,
Or maybe just because it's immediately fresh.
yeah,
You know
I
what
mean, you get some of these chicken farms where they're trying to spit out 10, 15,000 chickens a day. I mean, and they're living in this like crazy environment. I mean,
Stress chickens.
I don't trust it. I mean,
stress chickens.
then you got like freaking the dude from Kroger's or whatever cutting it. I mean, did he wash his hands? I mean, I know they got guidelines and shit, but
That dude's in high school, bro.
right, yeah. I mean, is he a certified butcher? I don't know. That's about all I had on the subject of InkBirds is great. Wash and cook your meat to a certain temperature, and you'll be fine.
Right. Be safe.
Be safe for sure.
We're still alive. It is what it is, man. Dylan, that was for you. Just so you know.
So we'll transition over to the barbecue fails, barbecue wins segment, and we'll close this out. I got one story. So this one's kind of like barbecue fail / win all in one.
A fwin, if you will.
What'd you say?
A fwin?
A win?
I think we call those ties.
Anywho.
Yes. We'll go with the fwin or schwin.
Swing.
Oh, now we get the bozo.
All right, so I won't give you the name of this story. I'll just read it, and then we'll give you the name towards the end, or I'm just going to give away the whole punchline or whatever. Okay, so when we first started doing our competition cookings, there wasn't a lot of people with big, huge, like walk-on trailers and all these pits that had running water and all that type of stuff. It was basically a truck and a pit. That's basically all you had. And so you brought along your meat, your spices, maybe a couple of rolls of Reynolds wrap tinfoil, and a knife. I mean, that's basically all you had going out there. You're like, okay, and a cooler. You got a cooler with your meat and a cooler with your beer. 20 years old, 21, you're going to drink some beer and cook some barbecue, what have you. If you had anything else, it was probably a luxury. At that age, we didn't have that. Some of the older people that were cooking, they had...
Probably playing music from your car at this point.
Oh, no.
Leave the engine running, just... that's where you get the
definitely
music from, you know what I mean?
Open up the car doors. We didn't have like portable speakers or anything. I mean, our truck was a portable speaker. Yeah, it was a portable speaker. It was a place for us to sleep, a place for us to carry our cooler. I mean, okay, so this particular cook-off started like any other cook-off. Like we show up Friday evening. Usually we never took off work. It was you work your 8 hours, you work your shift. As soon as you got home, loaded up the pit, rolled out to the cook-off. There was no setup at that time. It was just like you had your setup pulled along on the pit. We'd show up, set up, trim, rub the meat. Once that's done, shit, it's party time. Open up the cooler, and sometimes we would bust out some chicken wings, and I'll probably get together a recipe for you guys so you guys can try it at home. But doing smoked wings, if you can go by Kroger's, they have Hooters wing sauce and get the hot. It is the bomb, dude. You smoke the wings for probably, I would say 2 hours. Toss them in that wing sauce, dude. Everybody just destroyed it. Ranted and raved over that shit. So I'll put together that recipe, and everybody at home can try that as well. So we would hang out Friday night, party, drink. That would probably go into about 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, obviously we weren't making great decisions.
Why you say that?
Because we're cooking until 3 o'clock. I mean, we're drinking until 3 o'clock in the
good,
morning.
Now you got to start the fire at what time?
6 o'clock.
3 hours sleep, buddy.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what we average, about 3 hours sleep.
You're starting the pit late if you're starting it at 6.
Right? That's what I thought you were talking about. 4 o'clock in the morning, you're starting the pit.
Brisket turn in, mind you, brisket turn in at these particular cook-offs was at 5 o'clock in the
I was a
afternoon.
little different back then.
It was a little different, a little bit later.
What time were the awards? Like
About
fucking
6. About the name. I mean, they really didn't mess around. They got in there and they judged. They got out. Okay, time for awards. But yeah, the brisket would turn in usually was around 5 p.m. So we partied. We had fun. We had our buddy Zine, we call Big Zine or Red. He decided he had enough. He's like, I'm going to go home. And it's probably like maybe a 20-minute drive to his house or whatever. And we argue. We're like, oh, okay, you need to stay here. You've been drinking, all that stuff like that. Like, don't drink and drive. This is well before, the Ubers and Lyfts and all that stuff like that. So we're like, we tried to get him to stay, but he wasn't having it. So he's like, I'm going home. I'm like, all right, fine. That's you. So he goes home. We probably jump in the truck, lean the...
Probably, or y'all jumped in the truck?
No, we did.
Okay.
Yeah. We leaned back the seat, shut the door, had the AC cranked, throw some music on. We probably slept for maybe 3 hours. Next thing you know, 6 o'clock rolled around, and me and Jan. Jan's not here today. He's out partying it up, or not partying it up, but he's out spending time with his family in Galveston.
We are missing our comrade today.
Yeah.
He's very missed.
Yeah, we'll have him back next week, and I'm sure he'll have a bunch of stories to unleash on you guys. So me and him wake up at 6. All the other guys there, they're up, starting to get the pit going, light the fire, get the smoke rolling. The brisket is already trimmed and seasoned and ready to go. We get the pit up to temperature, and we're like, okay, where's Zane? I mean, his pit is just sitting about 10 feet from us, just idle, just nothing going on.
Not being manned.
Not being manned. Not being lit or anything. And mind you, back in the day, we're all friends. We all help each other. You can have my shirt off my back, all that stuff like that. But when competition day comes, you need to be here to light your pit. I mean, I'm not going to light your pit for you, with you being on a different team and all. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock rolls around, and it's like still no...
He's just gone.
Yeah, we've been trying to call him, like, oh man, we can't get hold of this dude.
We're
starting to get a little worried. Like, man, did he go to jail? I mean, shit. Did he get pulled over and arrested or whatever? He was going home to shower, change, and come back. That didn't happen. So he did come rolling up around probably 11 in the afternoon. 11:30.
To pick his shit up, basically, and go?
In the morning. No, to cook. Yeah.
He gonna try to put a brisket that fast?
No, well, he tried. I mean, he did. He got out and he pretty much kind of dog cussed us a little bit. Like, y'all guys ain't starting my pit or nothing. I mean, what's going on? Like, dude, we thought you were gonna be right back. He's like, man, I laid down for a second, and then next thing you know, 6 hours later,
Been there.
yeah. So, I mean, I completely understand it. So he goes over to
At least he wasn't in jail.
and that's a positive. I mean, that's great. So he loads up his pit with, like, I don't know, 8 pieces of wood,
All
9
the wood.
pieces, all the wood that firebox would handle. He loaded his firebox up with, and he put so many pieces of those like fire starter bricks in there to ignite that wood, and that went for like maybe an hour or so, and then he finally got his brisket on, and I'm not even kidding you, this temperature gauge on this pit wrapped around.
It looked like a cartoon. Dill was like,
Yeah, it went boo, and it wrapped around again.
I'm about to blow up.
I'm pretty sure he was shooting like over 500 degrees, like easy. So he throws his brisket on, smooth sailing. I mean, mind you, this particular time is probably about noon, close to 12:30, and he's like, you got like freaking 5 hours or 4.5 hours to cook this brisket. So he throws it on. Not burns it, but I mean, he
Got
just
some nice sear marks.
got some nice color quick on it. Wrapped it up in probably like maybe 3 hours or maybe 2.5 hours. Gets done with it. I mean, mind you, the clock's ticking. It's like it's 4:30. Got to start pulling brisket off. Let it cool so you can cut it. So he pulls it off and he's like, "Well, it is what it is." He just throws it onto his tailgate of his truck. And we're like, all right, cool. And then we're cutting, we're slicing, we turn in, and he's over there.
Is he struggling? Like, is he struggling or is he good?
He's good. I mean,
He's
his
good.
mind, he's good. He's like, all right, whatever. So he starts cutting to the brisket, and to our surprise, I mean, the brisket is actually tender. Like, I mean, he cooked his brisket in like freaking 4.5, 5 hours. So it's tender. You're like, oh, okay. So, but he's cutting it on his tailgate of his truck. And I mean, this truck was not wiped down or cleaned. I mean, it's literally like, I mean, he has a ranch and he was farming and all types of dirt and shit all over this thing. So he's cutting it all over this tailgate. The brisket au jus, the juice is just running everywhere.
No cutting board.
No cutting board.
Okay.
And so it's pooling up in this one center of the tailgate. And so he gets the assistant of whoever it was to help him box it up. So he cut a slice, and then he'd take the slice and he'd sit there and roll it in the juice that's sitting on the tailgate.
On the tailgate.
Nice.
And then he put it in a box. And then he repeated that process over and over again. And man, me and Jan are just like looking like, I mean, a couple of our other buddies, Ricky, Chad, and we're just like, man, what's going on here? Yeah.
He's obviously done this before.
Yeah, maybe he has. I don't know. And so he boxes it up, turns it in. I mean, this dude, I'm gonna kick y'all's ass. I mean, he was pretty stoked and excited about how it came out. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we get up there, and I can't remember. If we had Jan here, Jan would know what place we finished in. But I shit you not, he came in first place brisket.
That is not right.
Let that sink in. I was like, man. And he was excited. He was ecstatic. I mean, I think he might have got a tattoo over that. Like, for the longest time, we had, if you got first place brisket out at some of these cook-offs, that was automatically that night you're going to get a tattoo. So he got first place, and he kept telling everybody, he's like, he was excited. He's like, oh, Zine, what'd you do, Zine? It's that tailgate gravy. That's all it was, man. Just put that tailgate gravy on there. I mean, and now it's just a running joke with us.
Did he recipe that shit?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was sitting there talking with John, and he's like,
"Would you buy it?"
What he did was pretty much similar to what we do
Right.
nowadays, except for it's not on a tailgate. But you roll your brisket around in the au jus, the beef juice,
Right.
that helps create kind of a moisture barrier that keeps the meat from oxidizing and drying out and all stuff like that. So
There was still a method to his madness.
Yeah, I mean,
he knew what he was doing.
apparently he knew what he was doing. Yeah, first place. I mean, shit, he banged it out of the park. So that's the story of the barbecue fail / win tailgate gravy.
Yeah, I would have to say that's not a tie. I would say that's probably a straight up win.
That is a win.
That is a win
for sure.
Yeah,
Curveball.
But a good fail in it though. But that was a solid win, dude. Yeah,
That's not even right. He got more sleep than y'all, and he won.
exactly. Well, I think he just started a whole movement of
that's cheating.
he just started a whole movement of cooking hot and fast.
Right? Yeah. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
he's like, hey, I'm going to cook this brisket in 5 hours, and I'm going to get all the sleep in the world, and everything's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Really appreciate you guys tuning in and listening, and check out our Instagram page, check out our Twitter page, shoot us your messages. We want to hear all your barbecue fails. We want to hear all your barbecue wins. Reach us out at Instagram, that's Grab 'em in the Brisket, Twitter, Grab the Brisket, Facebook, same as the Instagram, Grab 'em in the Brisket, and drop us your emails. I mean, you can hit us up at grabemintthebrisket@gmail.com. I mean, we want to hear your stories.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a few more barbecue fail stories we're going to share that you guys have already sent us, but we want to hear some more of them. I know there's some more good ones out there we haven't heard yet.
Yeah.
For sure. But
Keep them coming,
everybody,
guys. Keep them coming, for sure.
Thanks for tuning in, too.
All right. Peace out, guys.